Hello everyone! I am Sir Kenneth of STEM Teacher PH. Welcome sa ating Basic Calculus Lecture Series. Ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon ay tungkol sa limit of a function. Let's start with our definition. Ang limit daw, we let f be a function. Meron tayong given function defined on some open interval containing the number a. Meron tayong constant a except possibly at a itself. Ibig sabihin yung a yung concern natin pero hindi yung saktong value ng a. So, mamaya malalaman natin kung bakit ganito. We can use other constants, pwedeng c, pwedeng a, depende dun sa ginagamit nyo na reference. Then, the limit of f, our function, as x approaches our constant a, ay yung sagot natin, which is letter L. So, we write everything here on our definition as, this is the limit of our function, f of x, as x approaches a. Yung value ng limit natin habang papalapit tayo dun sa a, tapos we let our answer be letter L. And then, if the value of f, kapag daw yung value ng f ay palapit ng palapit to one and only number L, as x takes values that are closer and closer to a. Dapat yung value ng L natin, palapit lang ng palapit yung limits natin towards this value. Kasi kapag magkaiba sila, we can say that our limit does not exist. So, magkapakita rin ako ng example na yung value ng L natin ay nagkakaiba on different areas dun sa as we approaches our a dito. So, let us have that as a note. The limit of a function refers to the value that the function approaches. Sabi ko nga kanina, yung value habang papalapit lang tayo ng papalapit, hindi mismo yung actual value. Kasi kung actual value lang yung concern natin, then that is just a function. Kaya magkaiba yung function tsaka limit. Kasi kapag sinabi natin na function, yung value itself mismo. Kapag meron tayong input na x and then we are going towards our output na y, yun na yung function. Pero yung limit, hindi natin gusto yung saktong value. Ang gusto natin kung ano yung value ng function habang papalapit at papalapit tayo towards this constant c. So, ang ginamit natin as x approaches c. So, we read this as the limit of our function, f of x, habang yung value ng x natin ay papalapit ng papalapit kay c, and then the value, titignan natin sa y-axis, is equal to our L. So, dapat, we read this as the limit of f of x as x approaches c is equal to L. Okay? Kung makikita natin dito, yung limit natin, yung value ng c, pwede tayong palapit ng palapit towards two areas. Pwedeng dito palapit sa kaliwa, habang papalapit ng papalapit kay C, tsaka dito sa kanan. Kaya we have that left side and right side limits. Dapat yung value ng L, habang papalapit tayo sa kaliwa, ay pareho dun sa value ng L, habang papalapit din tayo sa kanan. Kasi kapag magkaiba sila, then again, our limit does not exist. Para mas maintindihan natin yung konsepto, tong illustration na to, let us have our example. We have the limit of our function. Ito yung f of x natin, x plus 3, this line. This is our f of x. And then this is equal to x plus 3. And then as our x approaches 2. Kung titignan natin dito, ang x natin, let me change the color. Yung x natin ay approaching 2. Ibig sabihin, ang concern natin ay palapit tayo ng palapit yung value ng x natin dito sa 2. In that case, kung makikita natin yung graph, meron tayong dalawang reference. Pwede tayong papalapit sa kaliwa dito, tsaka papalapit dito sa kanan. So, let us have our notation. Kapag ang titignan muna natin ay yung limit, habang papalapit tayo sa kaliwa, the limit of our function x plus 3, as our x approaches 2, lalagyan mo siya ng negative dito sa taas. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, as x approaches from the left. Tapos, kapag from the right naman tayo, we have the limit of our function, x plus 3. As x approaches 2, lalagyan natin ng plus sa taas, we are approaching from the right. Ito yung concern natin. Para makuha natin yung limit ng function, dapat yung value as we approach from the left ay pareho dun sa value ng limit as we approach from the right. Kung titignan natin yung ating graph, babalikan natin. We are approaching 2 from the left muna. Kung titignan natin, habang papalapit tayo ng papalapit kay 2, dito naman sa graph natin, papalapit din tayo ng papalapit sa value ng y natin which is equal to 5. So we can say that the limit of our function, x plus 3, as x approaches 2 from the left ay yung value ng y natin kung saan siya tumatapat, that is just equal to 5. Tapos kung titignan din natin mula naman sa kanan, the limit of our function, x plus 3, as our x approaches 2 from the left, dito naman tayo manggagaling sa kabila, habang papalapit tayo ng papalapit kay 2, then yung value din natin ng y, kung makikita natin sa graph, ipa-plot natin, papalapit din siya ng papalapit sa positive 5. So this is equal to 5. Since nakita natin na yung left side limit, habang papalapit tayo mula sa kaliwa, ang value ng y natin is equal to 5, tapos yung nasa kanan, ganun din, habang pababa tayo, palapit din tayo ng palapit kay 5, then dahil pareho sila, the value of our limit as x approaches 2 nung ating function na x plus 3 is equal to 5. Dapat pareho sila para makakuha tayo ng value ng limit. Now, let us have our second example wherein magkaiba yung value ng left side tsaka yung right side limit wherein our limit does not exist. So, note, if the limit of the function from left and from right are different, kapag magkaiba sila, then the limit does not exist. Kasi kung makikita natin, as we are approaching 0 dito, from the left, yung value ng y natin, dito tayo. So, we are getting closer to negative 1 from the left, dito. Kaso nga lang, yung from the right natin, as we are approaching 0, dito sa x natin, palapit din tayo ng palapit kay 1, pero positive. Since magkaiba yung value as we approach from the left, we have here that is negative 1, and as we approach from the right, that is positive 1, then our limit as our x approaches 0, does not exist, or DNE. Madalas nyo makikita tong term na to, DNE, pero ang ibig sabihin lang yan ay does not exist. Kaya paalala lang, we have to be careful. Tignan natin yung left side tsaka right side. Tapos kapag magkapareho sila, then that is the value of our limit. Pero kung magkaiba sila, then the value of our limit does not exist. Now, let us have more examples. We have our function here. So, itong graph na to, this is our f of x. So, kukuhanan natin siya ng limit. Kaso nga lang yung una, the limit of f of x as x approaches 2, hindi pa natin to malalaman hanggat hindi natin alam kung saan tayo nag-a-approach sa kaliwa at sa kanan. So, let us get our left side at right side limit first. So, with that said, this is 1, this is 2. Ang concern natin ay etong part na to. So, kung titignan natin yung graph, as we approach from the left, manggagaling muna tayo sa kaliwa. Mula dito, palapit tayo ng palapit kay 2. We are approaching 2. Kung makikita natin, this is 1. This is 2. Sulat natin sa baba. We have the limit of our function f of x as x approaches 2 from the left. Kung makikita natin, itatapat natin siya dito. Palapit tayo ng palapit dun sa value ng y, that is also 2. So, this is equal to 2. Tapos, kung kukunin natin yung value ng limit natin, so dito naman tayo sa kabila, from the right, mula dito hanggang dito, kung makikita natin, straight line lang naman siya. So, hindi nagbabago yung value niya. Habang papalapit tayo ng papalapit sa value ng x, that is 2, still, yung y natin hindi nagbabago, that is still 2. So, we have the limit of our f of x as x approaches 2, from the right naman is still positive 2 kasi yung pa rin yung katapat niya na value habang papalapit tayo sa value ng x natin na 2, and then dito naman sa y natin, that is still, we are still getting closer to 2. So, that is our limit ng left side tsaka right side. In that case, kung makikita natin dahil pareho sila, they are both positive 2, then the limit of our function as x approaches 2 is just equal to yung parehong value natin, that is 2. Then, ang susunod nating hahanapin ay yung value ng function at 2. Dito na magkakaiba yung value ng limit tsaka ng function. Kaya hindi pareho ang konsepto ng limit at function. Kasi kung makikita natin yung graph sa taas, as we approach from the left and from the right, papalapit tayo ng papalapit sa value ng y, that is 2. Kaso nga lang, kung titignan natin yung value ng function natin dito, at the value of 2, eto open siya, so hindi siya sakto dito. So as we go down, kung makikita natin yung value ng y natin, etong closed circle ay na kay positive 1. Ibig sabihin, open siya kay 2, hindi kasama si 2, pero as we go down, yung function natin at x is equal to 2, meron tayong value sa y that is equal to 1. So the value of our function f of 2 is equal to 1, while our limit ng ating function is equal to positive 2. Doon nagkaiba ang limit at function. Now, let us try this one, the limit of our function f of x as x approaches 3. Medyo madali na tong part na to kasi if we look at our x, we have 1, 2, and then 3. yung value habang papalapit tayo kay 3, straight line lang to, isa lang siya. As we approach from the left, kung makikita natin yung value ng y natin, we are approaching at y is equal to 2. Pero sulat na rin natin, the limit of our function f of x as x approaches 3 from the left is equal to, hindi nagbabago yung value, that is still equal to positive 2. Pero the value of our limit still, nung ating function, as x approaches 3, pero from the right, palapit naman tayo mula dito sa kanan, still, hindi pa rin nagbabago yung value ng y natin. Kung makikita natin dito, that is still 2. So the value of our limit of our function as x approaches 3 is still equal to 2 dahil pareho yung left side at right side limit. And then, kung makikita natin, kung ipa-plot natin yung value ng x natin dito sa graph, as we go up, tumama siya dito sa point na to. Asan tong point na to sa y, that is still equal to 2. Ito yung part wherein nagkataon na yung value ng limit natin ay pareho sa function. May mga ganitong pagkakataon, pero as we can see on our first one, meron din pagkakataon na hindi pareho yung value ng limit at nung function. So this is the process kung paano natin malalaman ang value ng limit tsaka ng function given a graph. So let us have one more example. So we will be using this graph of our function to find each of the following. So the limit of our function, ito yung given natin na graph, as x approaches 2, ito yung concern natin, from the left, kasi kung makikita natin meron tayo negative dito, manggagaling tayo sa kaliwa habang papalapit tayo ng papalapit kay 2, kung makikita natin, we are also getting closer to the value of y natin that is equal to positive 1. So as we are approaching from the left, the value of our limit as x approaches 2, that is equal to positive 1. Then for our next one, papalapit naman tayo mula sa kanan. Ito pa rin yung limit natin, ito yung ina-approach natin, we are approaching 2. Kaso nga lang, kapag pakanan na tayo, hindi na tong graph na nasa kaliwa ang titignan natin. Ito na yung titignan natin. So as we are approaching from the right kay 2, kung makikita natin, ipa-plot natin siya. Saan siya sumasakto? Sa output natin sa value ng y, that is in negative 6. So the value of our limit ng ating function as we approach 2 from the right is equal to negative 6. Tapos kung makikita natin, dahil magkaiba yung value nung left side tsaka right side limit, magkaiba si 1 at negative 6, then our limit nung function as x approaches 2 mismo does not exist. And then the value of our function, f of 2, plot lang natin at 2, open siya dito kay 1, kaya hindi to. Saan siya tumama? Dito. So, kung titignan natin, ano yung value ng y? That is just equal to 4. So, the limit of our function as we approach 2 from the left is 1, from the right is negative 6. Yung limit ng function itself does not exist, pero yung value ng function that is equal to positive 4. If you want to do more examples, let us proceed dun sa video natin. Meron pa tayong dalawa. So, we have here, problem number 2. Kukunin ulit natin yung value. Ang concern naman natin as we approach 1 from the left, from the right, yung saktong value ng ating limit tsaka yung value ng ating function at 1. So, ang concern natin, etong red dotted line na to, kung makikita natin, from the left muna tayo, yung value ng y natin, habang papalapit tayo ng papalapit kay 1, we are getting closer and closer and closer. Kung makikita natin, pababa lang siya ng pababa. Habang papalapit tayo ng papalapit sa 1. Kaya hindi tayo makakapagbigay ng isang value ng y kasi nagbabago lang siya palagi. So, it is approaching, pababa siya ng pababa, palapit siya ng palapit, palaki siya ng palaki towards our negative y. Kaya we can say na yung limit from the left ay pababa ng pababa towards the negative y-axis, we are going towards the negative infinity. Kasi tuloy-tuloy lang siya pababa habang papalapit tayo kay 1 galing sa kaliwa. So, possible na magkaroon tayo ng value na ganito, negative infinity for our 1 from the left. Pero from the right naman, kung makikita natin, ito yung graph natin, yung nasa kanan, nung 1 natin, papalapit tayo ng papalapit, meron tayong makukuha na isang value. We are getting closer dito, which is equal to negative 2. So, meron tayong value nung ating function as we approach 1 from the right. Kasi ito yung graph na tinitignan natin. So, with this one, we can say that the value of our limit is just equal to the value of y here, that is negative 2. And then again, dahil magkaiba, from the left, we are going downwards towards negative infinity. Tapos yung nasa kanan naman natin, we are just approaching negative 2. Then our limit does not exist. Magkaiba sila. And then the value of our function, saan siya tumama? Dito, paplat lang natin saan siya tumama sa graph. It is at negative 8. So our function is at negative 8. So titignan din natin if our value nung ating y, as we approach a certain value, ay nananatili, palapit lang siya ng papalapit sa isang value ng y, or patuloy siya nagbabago, kagaya nung ating negative infinity na nandito. So that is for problem number 2. And then last one, for problem number 3, we are approaching 0 from the left, from the right, yung value ng limit natin, tsaka yung value ng function. Eto, makikita natin, magkakaroon tayo ng value nung limit as x approaches 0. Kasi eto yung concern natin, itong nakay 0, sa ating y-axis. So, as we approach from the left, titignan natin, palapit tayo ng palapit sa kaliwa kay 0, tapos tayo ay papalapit ng papalapit dun sa value ng y natin, that is equal to positive 1. So, this is equal to positive 1. From the right naman, habang papalapit tayo ng papalapit kay 0, kay x, then papalapit din tayo ng papalapit sa value ng y natin, that's also 1. Dahil nagkapareho yung left side at right side limit natin, then they are both 1. The value of our limit as x approaches 0 is equal to yung value na pareho, which is 1. Kaso nga lang, nag-iba lang yung function kasi open tayo kay 1, meron tayong value ng function, etong meron tayong close, that is at positive 2. So this is the whole process kung paano natin malalaman yung left side, right side limit, saka yung value ng limit itself, saka nung function kapag given tayo ng graph. I hope you have learned something. Thank you for watching.